riot police right there. There have been some turmoil going on related to education. It's been around us. We've seen the riot police, and we're gonna try to get a bit closer and see what's actually going on. So apparently this is something that often happens in Greece. They take the streets when they want to raise their voice against something, and the mistrust towards the government is pretty damn high. We're trying to just get a deeper understanding into the culture of where does all this frustration and desperation come from. It's quite intense. I don't know what they're singing. Excuse me, what are people protesting about right now?
Okay, that's a good question. Since 6 weeks ago, the government announced that it will be passing a new law that legalizes private universities. So it's been going on for 6 weeks. Like half of the country's departments are under occupation.
What are people afraid will happen if this becomes real?
This becomes real, that there will be more opposition from the private sector, which means there may be tuition fees in public universities as well at some point.
Do you feel that a lot of people don't trust the government here?
It depends. I mean, these people, they don't really trust the government. Yeah. We have this thing, this public system that it's worked for so many years, and now they want to privatize everything. Hospitals and schools as well, so they see a real threat with university.
It said on the internet in a statistic that Greece is the most stressed and depressed country in Europe. Do you feel that as well around your environment and in your...
Yeah, in Athens definitely, man. It's a very stressful country. Because the prices are very, out of control right now, and wages are stagnant. You have to hurry so much, you have to be on time for everything, and it's still not enough.
You're privatizing universities when young people are already struggling finding jobs. I get it. I get why you would be mad. As we continue to speak to more locals, it started to become clearer how a huge portion of a country could become increasingly stressed and disheartened. Why do you think many people are...
Então, isso aqui, increasingly stressed. Esse increasingly é de increase, tá? Increase é de aumentar, subir, increase, aumentar, subir. Quando você fala increasingly stressed, é o quê? Aumentando o estresse, ou seja, é um pessoal que é um país que poderia ficar cada vez mais estressado, desanimado. Então é isso que ele fala aqui. Vamos escutar de novo.
To more locals, it started to become clearer how a huge portion of a country could become increasingly stressed and disheartened.
Uma parte do país poderia ficar mais estressado e desanimado.
How a huge portion of a country could become increasingly stressed and disheartened. Why do you think many people are stressed in Greece?
In Greece, here interest because the economic is very bad, and we have very bad government.
I know that many people lost their job, and it's one of the highest unemployment.
Yes. They have a big stress for this. Everything here is very expensive now. I think for 5 years, I go to supermarket, I can pay for all the week from the supermarket 100 euro. Now I need 300 euro, and it's not enough.
From your education before, you are a...
Yes, I have a master in economics. We have a doctors here.
Yeah.
They haven't worked. They study medicine and they haven't worked.
Wow, so they're educated doctors, but there is no work for it, and then
they haven't worked.
After multiple economic crises over the last few decades, there is understandably a lot of dispute as to how the government has managed the country's finances. And there is perhaps no better testament to this than what we're about to explore. Okay, so we are about to see an abandoned arena from the Olympics. We're going to go and explore one of them, the beach volleyball arena where the final took place. We're now in one of Athens' many abandoned arenas from the 2004 Olympic Games.
Eu vim pro Brasil para conhecer aqui, ver o que tem aqui da Copa do Mundo, das Olimpíadas.
In total, the Greek government spent around 9 billion euros on the Olympics. And 20 years later, many of these incredible constructions now lay empty. so strange. I've never been in an abandoned stadium before. To be in the birthplace of the Olympics in an abandoned Olympic stadium, it's a bit strange. Think about all the effort that went into build something like this, and the funds, especially in a country that was already not in the best financial place, for it to just be invested into, built up, and then abandoned. Greece spent the last decade suffering through the longest depression of any developed country ever, causing record unemployment, homelessness, and poverty. Because of this, these stadiums serve as a source of anger, with many questioning how the nation has benefited from the multi-billion-dollar event. It's strange to be standing in the middle of a place that was at one point filled with celebration and joy for such a short period of time, and then to see it completely empty. It's quite the contrast. In the middle of this trip, I started to ask myself what I was really looking for in the story. For me, these trips that can sometimes be jolly, sometimes be more serious, help me understand the world. It feels to me, and I think for many of us, that our world is becoming more confusing by the day. In many ways, it feels like we're losing connection to our core humanity and getting carried away by things that don't matter. It feels like larger powers are making decisions that affect us all while not considering us in the process. One truth I've always observed, however, is that the world out here, human to human, and the world online have always been drastically different wherever I've traveled. So finding the real stories by speaking to real people has been my medicine. And I guess that's why I'm here, to have my small understanding and extend that empathy to the people of Greece. And in my own small way, hope that a future leader from anywhere who may watch this grasps the importance of the decisions they will make and how it ultimately affects people trying their best to make it all work in this confusing life we all share. But my friends, our trip was about to take another big plot twist. During our time interviewing people around Athens, including YesFam and a local psychotherapist, there was one place that kept popping up. A place that many claim has been unaffected by a lot of the issues that we've heard about, and is actually known as one of the happiest and least stressed places in the world.
How do you think people still can enjoy it and be happy even if it's a lot of stress and so?
We go outside of Athens.
You go outside of Athens.
Go outside of...
Once you go to the Greek islands, you go to Ikaria, right? You realize that Greek people also know how to have fun, to live life, yes, equally as good as being stressed.
Would you say that there is like a noticeable difference in the people of Ikaria and other people in Greece?
Yeah.
There is?
Yeah, there is. But they're very not stressed about anything.
So we decided in our quest to further understand the country of Greece, but also in the hopes of gaining some wisdom from people who regularly live to be over 100 years old, to venture out the next morning to this special, secluded little island.
Wow.
Boom.
Okay boys, this is officially a road trip!
Famous for being considered one of the world's 5 blue zones, places where the population regularly lives to their 90s or even 100s.
Oh, more goats! More goats! Oh, oh.
Whoa.
Wow.
Blue zones are known for their healthy lifestyles, but also for their very low records of stress. In a country with so many challenges, these people must certainly have ways they find peace despite it all.
The canis. I like our homeboys here.
Easier to approach without...
Tomando uma.
The canis. Can we maybe ask you some questions? We read on the internet that Greece is the most stressful country in Europe. Do you feel anything of that?
Άγχος, μηδέν άγχος, αναισθησία να σου πω έτσι.
Ήρθε 94. 95. Μου κάνει εντύπωση ότι έχετε φτάσει 95 χρόνια, ας πούμε, και βγαίνετε έξω.
Esse tiozinho parece um desenho animado, cara. A carinha dele. A carinha dele.